So we all have what we consider to be flaws. I certainly have a lot of them. But what do you do with these flaws? Tuck them away and ignore them, or focus on them so much that you allow them to rule your life? Well, I've got Associate Clinical Psychologist Kamala McWinney here to help you tap into your weaknesses while turning them into strengths. No, so.
Yes, sir.
Good morning. Welcome to Smile Jamaica. Great to see you once again.
Yes, sir.
So I would know personally what my weakness and my strength is, or I hide from them, or am I supposed to know that?
You start at the right point. Yeah. So first of all, it's important for us to introspect. I know many people kind of like to hide away from the realities of who we are, but it's important to, check yourself, look into yourself from time to time, so you can know what your strengths and weaknesses are. A lot of us, when we go into interviews for jobs and they ask us, what would you say are your greatest strengths and weaknesses? We blank, because we don't practice it on a regular to know what's really going on.
We don't practice it, or we genuinely don't know?
I feel like we don't look into ourselves enough to kind of just consider, because it's a simple thing. What are you good at? Yeah. What are you not so good at? Those are strengths and weaknesses. So if we check ourselves regularly, we can figure it out.
Well, come on, me weak bad, because me no good at...
We need the sessions, Neville. We'll talk about this the next
time. Because me no good at nothing. Instead of looking at your weaknesses as flaws, as I said, you should embrace them for what they are. So as you said, first thing is to identify your weaknesses. Yes. So where I start, I get up one morning and I say, all right, like I say, whether I'm good or
well, generally from we're small, we kind of can figure out, what mommy say I'm good at, what teachers say I'm good at. And that's an important point too, in terms of persons who are raising children or in an influential position, to speak positively to them and frame or reframe their strengths and weaknesses for them. Right. The second thing, after you identify them, is to focus on the fact that having a weakness does not make you less likely to be successful. You're successful, I would say, by many standards. And you say you have a heap of flaws.
Yeah, man. No.
Yeah?
No.
So we can still reach far in life, even though we have weaknesses.
I hope you can talk, as M just says, 99 minutes leaving a day.
I'm ready. I'm good to go.
Interviews. So I hope you can chat. But then sometimes you might not think it's a weakness, So somebody might say, well, you're kind of coward and thing. No weakness that. And so even if you identify it, sometimes you might not know that that's necessarily a weakness. Sometimes,
yeah. You might not be aware. So again, it's also important to look at relativity. You're better at some things than others. It doesn't mean that you're completely useless.
Right.
Yeah.
Every weakness has a corresponding strength. And I ticked off 3.
Yes.
So all of them, I'll tell you all of them: unrealistic, arrogant, irresponsible, inflexible, childish, obnoxious, disorganized, inconsistent, independent, impatient, stubborn, indecisive, intimidating, and talkative. I ticked off independent, impatient, and stubborn. It said tick off 3.
Right.
So I ticked those 3 for me: independent, impatient, and stubborn. Interestingly, you're saying you could turn that into a strength.
Yes.
And go ahead.
And I'm also saying that you can find even a smidgen of positivity, something good out of it. So, for example, people who are talkative, you can look at it and say you're expressive. You have something to say,
Yeah.
And then also it's important to be careful of who is framing your stuff for you. Because some people might look at you and say you're arrogant, when in fact it's just that your confidence makes them feel intimidated.
Okay.
Okay. And then as parents, you have to be careful about how you speak to your children. So instead of saying you're disruptive, he's a very active child.
Right.
Instead of calling a child in a class, rude, he's a leader, he's an influencer, or she's an influencer.
Obnoxious. The opposite to that as your strength would be enthusiastic. Okay. So my 3 weaknesses, and I have many more, by the way: independent, I'm resourceful. Impatient, I'm passionate.
Yes, sir.
I could live with that one. I don't know about the resourceful part. Stubborn is persistent and determined. Yes.
That is accurate.
That is very accurate. I'm stubborn, but I'm persistent, man. I'm not argue. But again, how do I switch that around, though? Even though, the words are there. So how do I switch that around to ensure that I can move my weakness to a strength?
So the first thing that we do is to make sure that we spend some time not just saying, I can't do that, I'm not good at that, but to spend some time improving ourselves. So many of us, we just say, I don't do that. For example, recently I went to a place and I saw table tennis. I have poor hand-eye coordination, but I decided to just give it a shot. I manage myself not too badly. So it's important to apply ourselves to it so that we can improve in all the areas.
Okay.
Some things we know is just not us. So after you try and you try to apply, You have to get somebody to help you with it or get somebody to do it for you.
Yeah.
Because it's just not your thing.
Which is the next one, get advice.
Yes.
Get advice. When living in the dorms, it says, I had a roommate that was different, and my room was keep it neat and so on. So get advice from who? You know,
from
who?
qualified persons, from persons who tend to be objective, because even the example before about, for example, a teacher in a classroom saying a child is just in bad and in rude, and he's the one who is the ringleader. If you reframe that, you can say the child is there is influential, you know, material in that child. It's just a matter of reframing and giving him the right tools to lead in a more positive way.
Higher skills.
Yeah. That's an important one, because even, for example, sometimes in relationships, for example, a man, many women think that men should be good at electrical stuff, mechanical stuff, can fix everything. Probably the man just not have it. You just need to hire a carpenter or hire the mechanic. So it's important to know when, after you try, you just don't have the natural proclivity towards something and find somebody who does.
No, sir, me get a puncture and me just call somebody and say, come fix this.
I don't feel like less of a man, right?
No, sir.
There you go.
No, sir, me just not have time for it. Get good enough. It says you can't change what you were born with, but you can change how you perform it.
Absolutely. So again, the whole thing of applying yourself to it. You know, spend some time. I don't have good hand-eye coordination. Play some Tetris, play some something, just to get better in those areas.
Well, this one for sure. Seek to help others. I try that, but again, I don't have no whole heap of, I don't have a creative board in my body anywhere. So
I'm sure many people would disagree.
No, man, I need plenty of help. Good work. Good work.
Thank you so much. I
Great
appreciate
to see you.
it.
Thanks for coming again. Associate Clinical Psychologist Kamala McQuinney.